G'day, and how's it going? It's Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. I do hope you enjoyed today's bloody good episode, and with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, let me know what you think about it in the comments down below, and enjoy. Let's go. Posted by user OrcThrowaway2342351, titled, I accidentally accused my wife of cheating on me, but actually it was just my daughter, and now we may divorce. Me, 52 male, and my 50 female wife have been married for 25 years, and are immensely happy. We of course have the normal fights. Me not cleaning the bathroom, arguing about me losing money on sports betting, her spending twice as much as the shops we agreed to, etc. But overall, have a really happy marriage. Until about 8 p.m. yesterday night. Recently, we've been having a bit of a problem in the bedroom. I don't want to derail the post, but basically sex has naturally slowed down between the two of us in the last couple of years. This has really bothered my wife, and bothered me a bit also, I will admit. Once we vocalized the problem, we both agreed that we're going to take steps to fix some things. We talked to some doctors, and basically all of them wanted to put my wife on some serious medications, which my wife was pretty against. This led to about a year of building what we call our sex drawer, filled of products in the kitchen that my wife has tried and tested and likes the ingredients of. It's nothing crazy, literally like vitamin D, zinc, some Lubricelled soft gels, maca, stuff that has been tried and tested, nothing too wild and all over the counter. Now, here's where things start to go downhill. So my wife naturally takes these products around the times that we're going to get intimate or try. Now, I don't like to monitor the kitchen drawer, but sometimes I do peek. I know, but I can't help it. About 3-ish weeks ago, I noticed a ton of pills and soft gels were disappearing. Me, thinking I'm about to have a pretty good week, I start to mentally prepare for it. So about a week after that, I recheck the drawer, and a ton more stuff has been taken. I remember thinking, that's weird, we haven't done anything recently. And about a week later, the same thing happened. Tons of pills and soft gels are gone. And I'm not gonna lie, I get in my head a bit. Last night, my wife and I are out to dinner. After a couple of glasses of wine, I ask my wife why she's been taking so much of the stuff in the sex drawer without trying for any intimacy. And I asked coming from an angle of both worry, mostly for health, and confusion. Immediately, my wife gets insanely defensive, blows off the conversation and tells me she isn't talking about it. This, of course, makes it where it's now the only thing that I want to talk about. And while I respect everyone's I don't want to talk about this, I think something like this should probably be effing discussed. I press a bit, and for about an hour, she is not having this conversation. Basically, it gets to the point where I just blatantly ask my wife if she's seeing other people. My wife, who has never been aggressive or loud, starts basically screaming at me in this Italian restaurant. She tells me that my daughter, 25 female, has been having some relationship issues with her boyfriend and has been taking some of the stuff to help. I'm like, why the hell didn't you just tell me? She goes on a rant about how some things are girl to girl and how my daughter didn't want her telling anyone. Which I get, but come on. I buy the things to fill the drawer. My wife ends up leaving the restaurant mid-dinner. I've honestly never seen my wife this mad, and I'm honestly a bit worried for our marriage. And to top it off, my daughter is acting awkward around me. I get that I stepped out of line with the questioning, but the defensiveness really caught me off guard, and would have assumed my daughter using our stuff would have been discussed. And I wouldn't actually have cared, and would have bought more stuff. Anytime I try to talk to my wife, she makes it seem like I'm an insane, out-of-control monster, that I've broken the trust in our marriage, and that I've ruined 25 years of progress that we've made together. Reddit, am I crazy? I'm beyond confused right now. In the comments, particular title 42 says, not the asshole. I am a little suspicious. Missing stuff requires explanation. I'm also a little curious why you keep sex stuff in a kitchen drawer where just anybody trying to help in your kitchen would have access to them. That's the kind of stuff you keep in a medicine cabinet. And OP says, it's basically a drawer of vitamins. Even if guests found it, I doubt they'd actually know what it was. I think that's just where we ended up stuffing things as time went on. I don't know if either of us really wanted it there, more than where we just ended up putting things. Inefficient Frog says, "Is there parts of this story missing? It feels like there is something missing. Why did you choose to bring this up at a restaurant? Was it to try to avoid the yelling? Did you plan on it being a fight from the start? Get your wife's side of the story and post it. We crave the drama." I feel like my sex drawer would be a bit different than yours. When he said stuff from the kitchen, I thought there were ladles and spatulas and whisks. Info: how intense was your questioning her in the restaurant? How long? How many questions did you also ask? He pressed her on it for an hour. To be honest, she should have answered much faster. With "our daughter is using it and you don't need to know about it," I think regardless of everything else, the party that created drama over nothing is responsible for the argument. Hiding things from your partner, even trivial things, is just as problematic as bigger things. Back up to the post, there is an edit, 4 hours since I posted. Wow, a lot of incredible information in here. Thank you to everyone for your comments. This post has made me feel better and has allowed me to think about other aspects of our marriage. I've seen a ton of requests for info, so let me try to answer some of the questions here. Me and my wife didn't go to the doctor for only libido issues. I don't know the general age of Reddit, but as you get older, things like menopause and other hormonal issues become a reality. That's just the way of life. I didn't plan on questioning my wife at the dinner. It had been in the back of my head, and after a few glasses of wine, I handled the situation poorly, which I 100% agree with all of you, not the right time or place. Though we've had some tough conversations before in public, that still doesn't justify it. Calling it a sex drawer may have been a bad name, but it's just how we reference it. We didn't really think too deeply when coming up with the name, and I don't know actually which one of us created it. I don't have a good reason as to why it's in the kitchen, but we're kinda past the age of caring about what someone may or may not see in our home. I wasn't monitoring the sex drawer. The Lubrisil soft gels, which we keep out of the box, come only in a 30-pill supply. Half the pack or so missing, I didn't count, is very obvious even at a quick glance. And for why I didn't automatically assume my daughter, the soft gels mentioned above and some of the other stuff in there are for specific things, outside of vitamins. While I don't know the ingredients too intimately, you wouldn't really expect those things to be shared. And finally, for those mentioning that my wife is still actually hiding something, I appreciate your comments, and it has given me a ton to think about. While I won't jump to those types of conclusions, I do agree that there is probably more that needs to be discussed between me, my wife, and my daughter. And now, onto the update. I wish I had better news. After reading through the post and all the DMs that everyone sent, thank you for all of those, I was a bit overwhelmed and a bit confused. So I decided to just relax and really not try to jump to any conclusions through the weekend. Many of the points that were brought up did broaden my perspective, and some of the ones assuming infidelity, I won't lie, did get to me a bit, and I was running pretty high anxiety-wise. Realize that at this point, me, my wife, and my daughter still aren't talking. Our home has suddenly become one of the most lonely, isolating, and awkward places in the world. Sunday night, while watching some basketball, I basically just thought to myself, I can't go on like this. So I went and talked to my daughter. I approached the conversation in a, you can talk to me about anything, and if you and your boyfriend were having sexual issues, I would be glad to buy you guys some more stuff. My daughter just starts to seemingly break down, to an almost uncontrollable sob. I'll be honest, I thought at this point that she was going to inform me on some serious medical issues or something. Once she calmed down, she basically says that she has taken some of the vitamin D and zinc before, but has never taken any of the Lubrisil or black cohosh. I look at her with that, do you realize what this may mean kinda look, and we just hugged and cried together. I've spoken to some of my friends who have gone through similar things and have gotten advice from lawyering up and divorcing my wife right away, to marriage counseling and fighting for the 25 years that we've been together. At the moment, I'm not going to do anything. I need a bit more time to think. I need to talk to my wife and really find out what's going on. This is probably the last update for me, as when I first came to Reddit, this was just a silly fight between me and my wife. Now it's progressed to a place that it's feeling a bit too private for me to share, and the above update was a bit tougher to write. Thank you again for all your comments and perspective. You all have helped me see something that I was blind or refusing to see. In the comments, 5am Creature says, "There is the possibility that your wife needs the supplements for her own general comfort. I'm not at menopausal age. However, I do have medical conditions that can cause vaginal dryness, and it can range from uncomfortable to actually painful. It's personal and can be a very touchy subject. Not to mention the mood swings that come with menopause. I'm not saying that cheating is completely out of the question, just saying that there are other possibilities." Yeah, it would really suck if they split because she didn't want to discuss vaginal dryness in a restaurant and got overly upset because mood swings and her daughter had been using some of the vitamins. She could be cheating, but at this point, this evidence is far from conclusive. After thousands of comments, half a dozen comments from me on the previous post, and OP is still calling these supplements sex drugs, OP wouldn't understand if his wife dragged her doctor home to explain it to him. She undoubtedly has told him. This has to be rage bait. No one is this ignorant. That's really shaky ground to build on. People can be spectacularly ignorant. Lubrasil and black cohosh are for menopause. I'm glad your daughter has not been taking them yet. Imagine having hot flashes at her age. Now, you might not know, but it's not unseen before for a woman to go through menopause at 50 years old. I had hot flashes for years in my mid-20s. I wish I had known about black cohosh then, since my doctors all said that it was a hormone problem that would sort itself out. It did after a few years. That includes me running out of a test to basically strip outside the building. So yeah, nothing that was affecting my day-to-day or anything. Quote, "I was monitoring the sex drawer." Not something that I expected to read tonight. Quote, "But sometimes I do peak. I know, but I can't help it." I don't know what he's implying. Does he think that peeking at the sex drawer is somehow risque? It's just vitamins. I checked to make sure that they're not running low on zinc. Doesn't seem like it would get most people's motors revving. Does he go down the vitamin aisle at Target at full mast? Look, that's all the information that we have for that one currently. I would love to cover it again in the future and see what other updates that OP has to share. I think we can only speculate right now, but I do think that there is a good chance that she's just taking those vitamins for her menopause. But at the same time, why can she not just communicate with that with OP? Why does she have to continually deflect and find other things to blame this on? That's really weird to me. That's a red flag in the relationship. It is a hole in her logic and reasoning. If she were to just be, upfront about the reason, maybe all this bullshit could be avoided. But then again, we wouldn't have these posts if people just communicated and were normal. Our next post is by user throwawares112, titled, "Am I the asshole for not wanting to name our son after my wife's dead brother?" So I was directed here upon the advice of a friend after this issue escalated to a huge argument approximately 3 hours ago that resulted in myself leaving our home to go to a buddy's house. I am still here and unsure about how to resolve things with my wife. Myself, 28 male, and my wife, 26 male, I'm assuming female, have been together for 10 years and married for 4 of those. My wife is pregnant with our first child, a boy, and she is due in early July. Now onto the issue that has arisen. My wife wants to name our son after her brother, who passed a little over a year ago. Her brother, we'll call him T, was her only sibling, and they were very close growing up, as they were only 2 years apart. However, her brother was not the most pleasant person. Her brother was a drug addict starting from age 14 to 15. He stole from everyone around him, including myself and my wife. He was abusive to everyone, including his partners and his child, and he served several years behind bars. T was also abusive to my wife and her parents. He had a stay-away order from our home because he broke in while we were away and stole our TV, also my wife's jewelry box, and one of my hunting rifles. T passed last year in April from a drug overdose, and it affected my wife very deeply. It was her first major loss that she has suffered, and she still attends therapy to help cope. When we found out that we were having a boy, she immediately wanted the name to be T's name. I heavily disagreed, and I've offered many replacements, other family names like her father or grandfather's, but she will not budge. She wants our son to have the exact same name as her brother, first and middle. She's even gone so far as to say that if we name him something else, she will have it changed or only call him by T. My final straw was when my wife ordered a blanket with T's name sewn into it for our son. I blew up, and I told her that I was not naming our child after a drug addict who took advantage of everyone around him. My wife blew up at me. She screamed at me to leave, threatened to call the police if I didn't, and she called me a piece of shit for talking about her dead brother like he was trash. I did leave. I told her that I would attempt to speak to her again about this once we had both calmed down, and I apologized for speaking about T in a negative way. I'm getting calls non-stop from her family, calling me names for speaking about T and not wanting to honor him by naming our son after him. My family is on my side, her family is on her side, and my friends are split on the matter. So Reddit, strangers on the internet, I need your opinion on if I am indeed a massive asshole for not wanting this name for our child. In the comments, Sniffin says, "Not the asshole. Naming someone after an abusive family member is never a good idea, especially if you both can't agree on it, especially if she wants him to have the exact same first and middle name as him. I could understand one or the other, but both seems like she's almost trying to replace him." OP says, "I've tried to approach that with her, but she is very adamant that she is only trying to honor her brother's legacy. I would be willing to give our son T's middle or first name, but she is refusing. She wants both, and she is a force to be reckoned with. A petty part of me wants you to ask her why her brother's legacy is more important than her actual child. Don't you and your wife want your son to have a clean slate? Why put the burden of someone else on a newborn child like that? I get the phrase, although I don't agree necessarily, do not talk ill of the dead, but you also shouldn't angelicize the dead either. Imagine when your kid can talk and he asks who he's named after. Well, son, you're named after your drug addict uncle. Can I have a story about him? Ho! This one time he needed money for drugs, so he broke in and stole our TV. Such an incurable trickster, that one. Oh shit, the accent break. It's giving Trisha Paytas's Tavern. Welcome, traveler. Like, what the actual Can you imagine what that could do to the psyche of a child? He should have the chance to determine his own identity. If your wife wants to honor him, there are better ways. Your son is not a replacement or a chance of redemption for the failed life of her brother. This is not a unilateral decision. A beggy chooser says, "Not the asshole." I don't know why no one brought this up already, but naming their son the exact same name as her brother, he's gonna grow up in the brother's shadow. I really hope that your wife and her family don't try to use your son as a replacement for the person that they lost. OP says, "That's what I've worried about, considering that she wants the first and middle name. Our son wouldn't have the exact same name as T. T's own son was not even named after him, so I also worry how it would affect the relationship between the cousins. When friends, potential employers, etc. Google your son's name, they will get all the stuff about his uncle and think that he is a drug addict. It sounds like your wife needs grief counseling to deal with her brother's death. My brother died recently. If my wife and I have a son, that son's name will be his middle name. Is that something that your wife would agree to? Kids should have their own identities, not the asshole." OP replies, "I would be fine with his middle name or first name, but she wants both. I have tried numerous times to find names that she likes to pair with either of those, but to no avail. She wants our son to have the exact name as her brother, but the last name will be the same anyway, since I took hers when we got married." This is just so gross. I don't know. I'm getting real gross vibes from the wife in this one. I don't like her at all, trying to get this unilateral decision. I think she has a lot of trauma that she needs to work through, and there's a lot of work that she refuses to do. I'm laughing because it makes me so uncomfortable, because it's so obvious that she is a problem and needs help. Because Absolutely, this is a unilateral decision that she's trying to make. The name is a 2 yes, 1 no situation. It's an outright no from OP, and she doesn't even realize that the first and middle name will tie to the criminal history is so messed up. I don't think that you're the asshole at all, OP. I think that she is currently unstable, needs some help, and I do potentially see a divorce in your future because this is a hill that she is willing to die on, by the sounds of it. And now, onto the updates. Hello internet humans. Not sure if any of you remember my first post a few months back, but I just logged on and saw that I had a few messages, so I figured that I would post an update. Sorry in advance for the length. So if you recall in my first post, my wife and I were expecting a baby boy in early July, and our conflict was occurring over my wife wanting to name our son after her late brother. We got into a huge fight, some names were called and some threats were made, and I was led to this subreddit to ask for advice and opinions of internet strangers. Well, a week after the post, I sat down with my wife and we had a very long and very difficult conversation. She broke down and admitted that she was struggling more than she let on with the loss of her brother, and she told me that she felt uncomfortable talking to me about it due to my feelings towards him and how he lived his life. I was devastated to say the least. I have never felt like such a horrible partner. I was selfish, I failed to see him as anything more than his mistakes, and I failed to support my wife through his death. It was a long talk with lots of tears, and we both agreed to be more open in the future and less judgmental. We started attending therapy together less than 2 weeks after that, and we have been going ever since once a week. It was rough at first, but it has helped tremendously in dealing with the bumps in the road of marriage. As for our son, we came to an agreement on a name after lots of long discussion, a first name that we both adored, and her brother's middle name, just spelled differently. A good compromise for the both of us, and it was my son's own name that no one before him had carried. We were both happy. Then on July 3rd, 2022, my wife delivered a beautiful, healthy, 8-pound baby girl. To say that we were shocked would be an understatement. My daughter came home the next day, and since then, I am still in awe about how we created something so perfect. We didn't figure out a name until she was a week old, but I'm happy to share that Eleanor Shea is what we came up with. We are still adjusting to life with an infant, but so far, it has been nothing short of amazing. Thank you for your past advice, internet friends and strangers. In the comments, Artemis9781 says, legit burst out laughing. So happy that you and your wife were able to communicate with each other, only for the cause of this whole fight to become irrelevant. Love that for you. OP replies, yes, it was absolutely hilarious to us when we got over the shock, and it's definitely going to be a story that I tell our daughter when she is old enough. That's my feeling too. All that fuss and it's irrelevant. I'm also glad that the new parents are talking and having some hard conversations, and OP has, I hoped, learned that people are often way more than the sum of their own mistakes to the people who love them. OP says, yes, I was blinded by my own feelings and judgments. Having a baby has made me realize that he was also once a sweet, innocent baby, a playful child, and a silly preteen. He was not always bad. Oh god, the whiplash I got from this next update. Oh my god. Our next update is titled, My Wife is Cheating on Me. I'm just here to vent my frustrations and scream into the void about my current situation. I can't talk to anyone in my personal life about this. My wife is cheating on me. My wife is cheating, and she has been for the past 2 months. I just don't understand. I don't even know where to start to begin to understand. We have a beautiful home, stable careers, we are not financially struggling, no drug or alcohol abuse, we attend therapy together. Our daughter is healthy and perfect. Our 6-year wedding anniversary is 3 months from tomorrow. We've been together for 11 years. I have spent the last 2 days examining everything about us under a microscope, trying to find a crack. Where I went wrong, when did she become unhappy, when did this life, our life, become unsatisfactory for her? For her to step outside of our marriage with some random guy that she met on Facebook? For her to throw our family away? I just don't understand. I found out on Monday, completely by chance. My daughter's tablet was dead. I grabbed my wife's iPad so she could watch her nighttime videos and go to sleep. Wife isn't home right now. She's on a trip and won't be back for another 4 days. I keep hearing message notifications dinging on her iPad while my daughter has it, so I took it to turn it on silent, only to see a man's name that I didn't recognize with a little winky face next to it. I went through everything. They've done it all. Met up, spent the night together, went on dates. They even have a romantic cruise planned for next month. The same cruise she told me was a bachelorette trip with one of her friends. All of these outings that I encouraged. She told me that they were with friends. I encouraged her. I was so proud that she was getting out there and becoming more social since she expressed that motherhood made her feel like a recluse. And after digging a little deeper, all of these new friends that she's been out with don't even exist. All lies. They are characters that she has created to continue her relationship with this man. I feel like a complete and total idiot. I never second-guessed a lie that she fed me. I gave her my 100% trust. We've been doing couples therapy for a year. We communicate, we go on dates, we get each other gifts. Our sex life is great. I never, not even for a second, would have suspected this. I don't know how to confront her with this. I don't want this. I don't want to split up our home. But I know that this isn't something that therapy can fix. I know myself well enough to know that I'll never be able to trust her again. Do I just let go? Do I let her go with this man who clearly makes her happier than I can? My entire existence is intertwined with her. How do I even begin to untangle that and separate? I have 4 more days to sit and overthink this. I genuinely don't know what to do. Additional info. OP says, "Thank you everyone for the advice. I'm trying to keep up with the comments and eventually will reply to everyone. Since posting and reading comments, I've been working on getting all of the messages, pictures, and videos into a folder on my personal computer. I went through our home cameras and found out that she had him at our house several times, either picking her up or them swimming, amongst other things, in our pool together. The more I find, the sicker I feel. I have a lot of phone calls to make in the next few days, and an appointment to get screened for STIs. I do want everyone to rest assured that my daughter is mine. We had a DNA test done when she was an infant to scan for hereditary diseases that I carry. I'm going to reach out to my parents and fill them in so that they can babysit while I handle this for the next few days." And now on to the next update, titled, "My Wife is Cheating on Me Continued." I posted here almost a month ago venting my frustrations about discovering my wife's affair, and I received a magnitude of comments and messages filled with advice and kind words. For that, I thank everyone who took the time to comment or write me, and I'm sorry for anyone who related to my situation. I'm here with somewhat of an update, but mostly more venting. My life is upside down, and it feels good to get it all out somewhere. Sorry if this is a lot of rambling, and sorry for the length. After making my post, I took the advice of everyone and gathered up all evidence and contacted lawyers in my area. I found a really great one and went ahead and started on divorce papers before my wife got home. I also got tested for any STIs and told my parents and best friend about the situation. I took my daughter to my parents so that I could have alone time to mentally prepare myself to face my wife with this discovery. I rage cleaned a lot and cried a lot on those last 2 days before she got back. I packed some of her stuff, but then unpacked it and cried more. I had planned to lay out all the screenshots along with divorce papers on our dining room table and just sit and wait for her, but I didn't get the chance to do that. She was supposed to get home later in the afternoon on Sunday, but she ended up getting back at around 6:30 that morning. She didn't call or text in hopes of surprising me. I was up drinking coffee, and you guessed it, crying. When she walked into the house, I didn't greet her. I just went and got the folders of evidence and divorce papers and gave them to her. I don't remember anything she said that day, but I just said I knew, I wanted a divorce, and I would keep the house as it was in my name solely. It hurt a lot. I wanted to hug her, but also scream at her. Lots of tears from her, lots of yelling at me. I didn't say anything. I told her we could discuss it at length with lawyers present once she accepted the situation and calmed down. I think someone called it grey wall in the comments of my last post. Not entirely sure, but I tried my best to do that and not show emotion and argue with her. It was really hard. The hardest thing that I hope I'll ever have to do. She betrayed me, but I still felt awful for making her cry. She left that day with some clothes and personal belongings and went to her parents, and my parents and best friend came to stay with me and my daughter. I had my lawyer arrange a meeting between us to discuss custody, belongings, money, and everything else that following Tuesday. Well, on Monday, I got a call from my clinic to come in and review the results of the STI tests, and as it turns out, her parting gift to me is HSV-2. I cannot describe in words how angry, sad, shattered I am. I'm still accepting it. I don't think I have yet, but I'm working on it. I know it's common, very common. I know that it's not going to kill me, but it doesn't make it suck any less. I joined a support group on Facebook, and those people are great. Going into Tuesday with that knowledge was awful. I felt so much shame bringing that up in front of not only her, but both of our lawyers. I knew if I tried to discuss it with her privately that it wouldn't go well, not with the amount of anger and sadness that I had in my system. She never apologized. She was a different person that day. I felt like I was looking into the eyes of a complete stranger. No emotion whatsoever. Divorce-wise, everything is cut and dry. We separated finances, the house is mine, we are waiting the 90 days for it to finalize. There were no objections on her end, but one. She wants to terminate her parental rights over our daughter. I say once, she is terminating rights, at least trying to. She doesn't want her anymore. Our daughter, our baby. I was effing blindsided. I am still blindsided. My daughter is 1, but she loves her mama. Mama was her first word. She is 1. It's been 3 weeks, and the pain I have felt, the pain for my daughter, for my family, has been indescribable. I don't know who she is anymore. I don't know what changed or when it changed, but it terrifies me. I feel like my entire life was pulled out from under me. I haven't talked to her, per lawyer's advice and my own fear of what I would say. She hasn't seen our daughter. She told me that day that she didn't want to. She didn't want any pictures from our home, any memories, just her clothes and electronics. I don't understand any of it. I don't think I ever will. We have to go to court for her petition to terminate rights, and I don't want to look at her. I just can't accept this as reality right now, not after everything. I'm trying as hard as I possibly can to keep a positive outlook on everything and be strong for my family and my baby, but this has been so hard. I hope a year from now, I can look back and say that I survived that. But right now it feels impossible to even see next week. I don't want to off myself, so don't take it as that. I'm just emotionally, mentally, physically demolished. Absolutely demolished. And now onto our final update, titled, This is a Happy Update. Hi there. For anyone who has messaged me and the loads of comments I've received regarding my past venting on this account, apologies first off. I genuinely kind of forgot that I had it. I'm not much of a Reddit guy, but I've been getting into TikTok lately and saw a video about a super depressing Reddit story and remembered my own super depressing Reddit story. It's been around 8-ish months since I posted here about my upside down situation, and a lot of people have messaged me in that time wanting to know how I was and what unfolded, and I really appreciate you strangers for all the kind messages. It genuinely means a lot, and I'm sorry that I haven't replied or anything. My life has been such a whirlwind these past few months. It's hard to believe that it was that long ago. To sum up the sad stuff, first off, my divorce was finalized without any hiccups or holdups. I'm still in the works of trying to sell our old house, but in the meantime, we moved to a new state. My ex is still in the process of petitioning for termination of parental rights. I've only seen her 3 times since moving, and it has been to fly out for court. I was granted temporary full custody in the process, per her request and suggestion, and she was not mandated any visitation and has denied any offer of it. She has not seen my daughter in 7 months. She has requested not to. I don't know what else she's been up to, or if she's still with her boyfriend or not. Since the divorce, it has been in the best interest of my mental health to keep the contact as minimal as possible, and she has done the same. I have offered many chances for her to visit with my daughter, whether it be a video call or flying out, and before we moved, I asked weekly, but it was always a no. Her parents still video call with my daughter, and we're hoping that they can fly out over summer and spend some time with her. They've been cut off by my ex as well. I'm not sure what changed, but I can't change it back, and I'm accepting it mostly. I wish her well in all future endeavors. Now for the happy stuff that has happened. Firstly, I am a proud Arizonan now. I never saw myself moving here, but we have loved it so far. My parents packed up and came with us, and I don't think that I've ever seen them so happy. My daughter is doing amazing. She will be 2 years old in July, and she is the smartest, funniest toddler that I have ever met. She knows her ABCs, can count to 20 without help, loves animals and bugs especially. She thinks farts and a cow mooing are the definition of comedy, and she doesn't know, but she has been the biggest motivator to heal from this whole ordeal and to be my best self. Like, I genuinely don't know how I helped make such an awesome kid. The more her personality grows, the more that I am in awe of just how cool she is. I could talk for days about her. So I'll cap it here before this ends up being a Harry Potter-length post. As for myself, I'm in therapy and have been throughout these 8 months, and I'm in such a better headspace. I'm working on getting back on top of my mental health, as I did put on about 30 stress pounds. I'll get there eventually, but I'm not sweating it too much. I have not dated or tried to. I don't think I will anytime soon. I've adjusted to being a single parent pretty okay for the most part. I credit that to my family and friends more than anything, because they've been a huge support system through this. There are still really hard moments that have happened, and I know that there are more to come, but I'll roll with it, just as I have this, and hope to come out on top. This is not the end of the world for me, even if it feels like it in the moment. The sun will rise tomorrow, birds will chirp, and all will be well. Thanks to my therapist for that. Those 2 sentences have helped me immensely. Sorry this ended up being so long. I really should pick up journaling, maybe a blog or something, but thank you again to everyone who took the time to give me advice in the hardest time of my life. And thank you again if you read this. I genuinely appreciate it. In the comments, Grandma's Villa says, "It's hard to imagine a mum never wanting to see her baby again. Something must have broken inside of your ex, and she will regret it immensely when she wakes up from the fog one day. It's great that you have wonderful parents who are there with you and support you. Children grow up fast, so enjoy every moment with her. It is good to hear that you are doing well. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors." And OP says, "Thank you." And yeah, like I said in my post, I don't understand and don't think I ever will, but it's beyond me to try to change her mind. I am very thankful for my parents and my friends. You can sue your ex for the STDs and the child support, but if you just want her out, then enjoy yourself, OP. OP replies, "I thought about it for a long time, but decided I didn't want to go through a whole court fiasco about that on top of the terminating rights and custody stuff. She wants nothing to do with us, so I'm giving her that in the end. It's better for my mental health." This was a roller coaster. I went from, oh yikes, there's definitely unresolved grief there. Oh yay, they're communicating. She was cheating? Oh, thank God they're divorced and OP is in therapy. I had gone from smiley face to sad face several times. My internal reaction was, that's kinda weird, and then, a cool happy ending, before going to, wait, what? To then, seriously, what the hell? And now finally, well, somewhat happy end. He doesn't mention it, but I hope that he gets child support, just because his ex-wife is a piece of shit who deserves to lose anything that she gets. I hope he gets child support because his daughter is a child who deserves those resources. Child support is not a punishment. Man, what an absolute roller coaster that was. That one has really done a number on me personally because I was there with bated breath that whole time and holy shit. I want to know what went wrong in her mind. I want to know why she doesn't want anything to do with the child anymore. I've not seen that. I have not really seen that. And if I have, it was a long time ago and I've forgotten about it. I do wonder if anyone has any idea what it is that being caught cheating, especially after an 11-year relationship and a 6-year marriage like that almost, at the 1-year mark for that child, the mother just wants to pack everything up and go, I want nothing to do with this child anymore. I don't want to even deal with my own parents. I'm just going to go be alone. That's kind of a red flag as to like, we need to do multiple wellness checks on this person to make sure that they don't just check out of reality. Kind of scares me a little bit. It disgusts me absolutely, but it's like, this is the same energy as someone close to you that's like, hey, here's my computer that I don't need anymore. I really hope that you enjoy this one. I'm going to go head out now. I'm never going to see you again. Anyway, that's my waffling. That's my headcanon speculation. I do want to know what you guys think of this one down in the comments below. And for our next story, the end of this episode. I do hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, obviously let me know what you thought about it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!